joining. And is everything's okay? As usual, we'll start with a short mindful breathing exercise to quiet our mind and to bring our mind in moment and present. So basically, as you breathe in and out, watching, observing, and being aware of your breath. So then we can think and contemplate. If our mind is not calm and peaceful and happy, no matter what external conditions are, feel miserable and unhappy. The weather might be this weather. You might have good health. You might have good job, good family, but still your mind can be very disturbed and unhappy. On the other hand, if we have trained our mind, subdue our mind, and if we learn to be peaceful, calm, happy, even the external condition might not be the best, might have some health issues. There might be some problem in families. We might have some challenge in our job, financial, so forth. But still, despite all of that, one can still find calm, peaceful, and sense of joy. Therefore, it's quite clear whether we are happy or not, whether our life become happy life or miserable life. Mostly it depends on our state of mind, comes to our mind. Therefore, if we want to have more joyful, peaceful, happy life, then we have to reduce and overcome the internal conditions that lead to that unhappy mind, which are the disturbing emotions. And we need to increase and improve those positive state of mind, such as to love, compassion, bodhicitta, wisdom, realization, ultimate truth, patience or tolerance, and so forth. To be able to do that, we need to continue to contemplate, meditate, practice. And to be able to practice, contemplate, meditate correctly, continuously, we need to be reminded and encourage, inspire through studying, learning. Therefore, all of us coming here together, giving our precious time, energy, resource, may all of this become cause and conditions to transform our mind, to reduce those disturbing negative emotions and increase and improve those positive emotions in the mind. And may it be cause and conditions to achieve our highest potential, the fully awakened state, so we can be most and greatest benefit to all sentient beings. Okay.
Did the praise to Shakyamuni Buddha 3 times in English. Let's see. Let's get these people. One. Sorry, guys. Ah, here they are. Oh, good. Okay, here we go. Okay, praise to Shakyamuni Buddha 3 times in English. To the founder, the destroyer, the one the first destroyer, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct. Peter of three things to your living of human. The endowment of this program. This was a published document. I have translated my comfort to the founder and destroyers. The one they completely affected away the first and sit out the oil. The green of the things. Here of God things. They destroyer. The Lord is coming. This is the from the doctor. I thought it was pretty thing. And down here, the one about the post brother, the completely perfected, and the other. Sit off so bring short mandala offering once in Tibet. Saji. Yeah. On the refuge in Florida, once in England, twice in Tibet. I go for refuge. I agree with this. May I almost listen to these. So John,
So from last week, we just started this particular very powerful text, the 8 verses of mind training. I mean, it was a mind training, the lotion, are very powerful to transform, our challenges, difficulties, problem, obstacles, suffering into something positive, something meaningful, something in the opportunity, something virtuous to transform them into. Also, there are tools to reduce our selfish attitude and self-grasping mind, which are the source of our affective emotions and our problem and sufferings, and tool to cultivate and develop and improve and increase love, compassion, and the bodhicitta or the awakening mind, um, and patience and so forth, which are the source of our inner peace, joy, and happiness, as well as um, tools that we can use to be help and benefit to others through such state of mind. And of course, also it is a way to achieve our highest goal, spiritual goal of fully awakened state. So last week we discussed the first verse. And the first verse, if I just summarize it, it is meditation or training about seeing each and every other sentient beings as very kind, compassionate, by understanding, by reflecting how all our comfort, our happiness, temporary happiness to ultimate happiness, all different levels of happiness, all we are able to experience and enjoy that by depending on others. All come through by depending on others. When we don't reflect, when we don't think, we might not feel that way. We feel like I did the hard work myself, and that is why whatever success, whatever comfort, whatever happiness that I'm enjoying is coming purely from my hard work. But without depending on others, you will not be able to have that. It's only through depending on so many others that we are able to achieve and have whatever we have. So when we reflect, contemplate on that, and we begin to see, yes, I work hard, but at the same time, others has contributed directly for us to achieve or get whatever we get. Without others' contribution, we will not be able to achieve what we have achieved. Through such, when we contemplate and we begin to feel the contributions of others, our comfort, our happiness, our success. And when you feel that, when you feel others' contributions towards that, then you feel their kindness. And through by feeling their contribution and kindness in your joy, happiness, success, comfort, all of that, then you feel you cherish them more than before. You feel more closer to them. You feel they are more dear to you than before. And when you feel close and dear and kindness, then it becomes easy to cultivate love, compassion towards them. Love, compassion come more easily towards them. So through such training, then we begin to see every sentient being is even more precious than wishful thinking jewels in terms of their contribution for not only temporary comfort and happiness, but their contribution towards our ultimate happiness. And through that, then we cherish them even more than wishful thinking jewels. So, and when you feel someone very dear to you, when you feel someone very close to you, and kindness of them, even when they are not so nice, sometimes you can be more compassionate, you can be more understanding, you can be more kind. It's easy to be more kind. It's easy to uh, be patient with them. You know, it is easy to not to get easily upset because you feel their compassion, their kindness. You feel they are very dear and close to you. So thereby, when you don't feel so easily frustrated, impatient, upset because of something they did or something, then of course your life is much more happier. Your mind is more calm, peaceful. That help you to have more peaceful, calm life, you know. And so the effect of that, such understanding or realization can have a big impact in your life. Even we don't talk about not creating negative karma, creating positive karma, getting close to enlightenment. Even we don't talk about that. Even in this life, your life will be much more calm, peaceful, more happier. So therefore, such way of training your mind through such reflection, contemplation, and understanding is a way to cultivate and increase and improve your pure love, compassion, both in the mind, which is the source of your own happiness and source of happiness for others. Pure love, compassion is really the source of everyone's happiness. You have that pure love, compassion, not only uh, you feel calm, peaceful yourself, sense of meaning in your life instead of feeling kind of empty in your life, sense of satisfaction and purpose in your life instead of feeling there's no purpose in your life, you know. Also, you start to feel good about yourself instead of feeling bad about yourself, how horrible person I am because I'm so angry person, because I'm so selfish person. Instead, you can also feel good about yourself. It helped to have a more self-confidence. And of course, such true love, compassion is a source of harmony in a family, peace and harmony in a family. Is a source and cause of peace and harmony and happiness in the society we live in, the world that we live in. The problem we face within the families, within the neighborhood, within the state, within the country, within the world that we live in, is mostly due to not having sense of compassion and love to each other, due to a lot of, anger, resentment, you know, distrust, all of that. So therefore, uh, is crucial, and that is the essential kind of message and the practice of the Buddhism is, cultivating true love, loving kindness, compassion, and both your mind. And then trying to live that way as much as possible. So that is related to the first verse, okay? Without going too much, but just to summarize the practice of the first verse that we talked about last week. So if we go to the second verse, here it says, whenever I am, and wherever I am, whoever I am with, I always consider myself the Lord of all, and from the depth of my heart, hold others dear and supreme. Not easy practice. Because we have too much, because we are too strong, ego. And this is just opposite of our ego. We have too much ego, too strong ego. And because that strong ego, we feel like we are better than others somehow. Sometimes we feel we are not better than them in this, but I'm better than them that way. Sometimes we feel we are better than others, based on our educations, based on our job, based on our status in the societies, sometimes based on our colors, sometimes based on your religions, because I follow this particular religion, I'm more supreme. Based on that, we feel my religion is supreme, and I'm more supreme because I follow that religion or that spiritual path. Based on that feeling, I'm more supreme. Others' religion is less. Other person who follow that religion less. That is how sometimes we feel. Based on that, sometimes it's based on sometimes we feel we are better based on our appearance. I'm more beautiful, I'm more handsome than that person's. Sometimes we might feel more supreme based on our present state of our health, our capacity, So that is the ego. That is the ego. That is the function of our ego. That is how our ego feels. And the ego is the source of all the problems. If we see in the world all the clashes we see in every field, there's always clashes. We think it is clashes because of different policies, because of different ideas, because of different system. That is, that is just artificial, superficial level. If you go deeper than that, is the clash of the two ego. My system better than your system. My policy is better than your policies. My system, my policies, my ideas are more supreme. My views are more. The others feel same way. The ego cannot say, oh, your view is better. Cannot accept. The ego cannot accept your policy, your system, your view, your idea is more supreme, better. If there is no ego involved, you can have different system, different view, different idea, all of that. Still, you can find a solution that without having to clash. Two wise, enlightened beings, they can have very different views, but they can walk out without having a clash. They can find a way out of that to find a solution way without having to clash. Check it out. Check it out. Sometimes we think we are fighting or we are having this fight, all these things because of two different views, ideas, how to solve the problem, let's say, problem of. But the clash is not based on that. The clash is because of the ego. If there's no ego, they don't have to hurt each other. Without hurting each other, without putting each other down, without making others feel you are less, we can figure out way to solve the problems and find more kind of consensus that can work for both. That can take both view, both system and both policy or both in a way that can work. But then here when the ego is involved, then the clashes come because we cannot accept. Ego is the source of our suffering. Ego is the source of the suffering in the society, the world that we live in. This practice is very poor practice to crush that ego. To crush that ego. That ego that feels that I'm supreme all the time. I'm better all the time. I'm right all the time. That's how our ego feels. Always when we have different, we feel I'm right. I'm the one who is right. It's very rare that we think I'm not right and you are right. Because you feel I'm the right. And even sometimes you feel right, and then with all the evidence, explanation, evidence, proof, you see you are wrong, but very hard to accept. Very hard to accept and acknowledge saying, I was wrong. Your ego doesn't want to accept that. Your ego doesn't allow you to accept that. The ego says, no, I am still right. I can see all the evidence there, why I'm wrong. I can see all the proof there, why I'm wrong. But still, I don't want to accept that. Your ego, that's the function of ego. That's what our ego does. So you don't want to back out. The other one doesn't want to back out because it's clash of two ego. And then that is where the problem continues, or the problem become bigger and bigger because no one want to back out. In some cases, even when you should back out because that is, but your ego doesn't allow you to do that. So really, if we really check it, ego is the biggest obstacle for our growth, our happiness, our spiritual growth, and for the peace harmony and happiness in the society, the world that we live in. So the less ego we have, the less ego we have, the more free we are. The less ego we are, the less we create harm and hurt and harm to others. The less ego we have, the less clash we have with others, less fight with others. When you have less ego, you also feel less hurt by others' actions. More ego you are, you get more hurt because you feel your ego wants to be respected by everyone all the time. Your ego feel that I have to be respected, treated in a certain way, treated respectfully all the time. And sometimes people are unable to do that. Sometimes other people are unable to do that for whatever reasons. And then your ego get hurt. Your ego get hurt. He or she didn't treat me respectfully. He or she didn't do this or that I deserve. So that is how that your ego says. And when that is not done, when that is not fulfilled, you feel hurt. You feel hurt. When you feel hurt, then that brings your bitterness, disturb your mind. And that bitter, disturbing minds then lead to, anger and other negative feelings, other harsh feelings. And when those different other harsh, hurtful, negative feeling arises, again, it agitates and disturbs your mind even more, and you suffer more. And not only that, then sometimes we act those actions, that feelings to others, and thereby we hurt and harm others. So you get hurt, harm, or you feel hurt and harm, and you also hurt and harm others. But someone who doesn't have so much ego, where they don't feel, I should be respected and hold highly or regarded high and treat that way. If someone doesn't treat, they can just let it go. Do you get it? Someone didn't treat you so well, respectfully, great. It's not a big deal. You can just easily let it go and not take it personal and feel hurt. And if you don't take it personally, if you don't feel hurt, then there's no reason to feel negative about that person. And therefore, there's no reason to have a negative feelings toward that person. Check it out. A lot of time we feel so much hurt by others' actions and behavior, what they do, what they do not do, how they behave, not behave with us, all of that. We get so hurt because our ego is hurt, because our ego, you know, want us to treat in certain way, like king and queen. And when that is not fulfilled, then we feel hurt. So the ego or the selfish attitude or self-centeredness, that is the main source of our problem, our problem, cause of our suffering and problem in our individual, collectively, within the family, the society, you know. So this second virtue, the practice, is to kind of crush that ego, you know, crush that ego, reduce and crush that ego, because that ego doesn't help you, doesn't help others, it doesn't help anyone. It only brings pain and suffering to oneself and others. And so therefore, we try to reduce and minimize and crush as much as possible. Also, that ego is the main obstacles or interference to cultivate true, pure love, compassion, and the awakened mind bodhicitta. It is the main interference to achieve our spiritual realizations, high spiritual realizations. And so therefore we try to, use every kind of meditation and practice that can reduce and crush that ego. And so here, that is one of the here thing. We train all the time, wherever you are, wherever you are, any part of the world, any part of the world, whether you are in a very developed country, whether you are in developing country, whether you are in a very undeveloped country, wherever you are, whatever place you are, with whomever you are, sometimes we might be around spiritual practitioners who share same kind of belief. Sometimes we might be around people who share totally opposite belief of whether it's a spiritual belief or whether it's a political belief, whether it's a social belief, whatever, we encounter all different kind of peoples. Sometimes we might have to walk with them, sometimes we meet them here and there, So with whomever there is, sometimes we meet and we are around the people you respect, hold you highly supreme. Sometimes we are around people that we might regard colleague, kind of same level. Sometimes we might be around people where we might think they are less, we are better, whatever. So whatever level of people that we are with, whatever kind of people, we always try to remind ourselves and train our mind to look ourselves less than them and trying to see them more than ourselves, supreme, holding them as more supreme and dear, and holding ourselves as lower or less. When you are able to do it, not just kind of pretending, we can pretend. In the mind, we don't feel, but outside we can pretend that, But when you are able to do that from your depth of your heart, really, then it really crush your ego. Because your ego always want to see your supreme, other less. Here you are training to see others more supreme and yourself less. And that's how we can crush and destroy the ego. And through that, practicing humility, humbleness. When we feel and when we regard someone as more supreme, better than yourself, and supreme and as yourself less, then it helps us be more humble and practice humility. humble and humility is something that can help us, something that help the societies, you know. Therefore, some of the Katamba masters, they say, they train by looking that there's no one Lord in me except the water that's under the ground. That's how they train their mind, always reminding themselves all the time with whomever they are with, always reminding, everyone is about me. Everyone is about me. Everyone is supreme than me. Every sentient being is above and supreme than me. What is Lord than me? What is Lord than me is the water that is underground that I'm walking on. That is something they train and remind themselves. So here I want to make a little distinguish, a little kind of clarity or maybe clarify. When you say others more than yourself, you are less than, it doesn't mean saying you are useless. Do you get it? It doesn't mean you are useless, you are unworthy, you are not deserving, nothing like that. Which, when you have a depressing mind, that's how you feel. When someone is depressed, that is how they feel, that I'm worthless, I'm good for nothing, I'm useless, I'm the worst person. All of that. It's a different. Here you have confidence in yourself. At the same time, you feel they are even better than yourself. Do you get it? Sometimes you feel with even among your colleagues, friends, even in educations or even in other fields or spiritual. You have confidence in yourself and your ability and your education, everything. You have confidence. You feel good about yourself and your education or your qualities. At the same time, you feel that person is better than me. He's more smart than me. He's better than me. Do you get it? So that is not putting yourself down. You have confidence in yourself, but at the same time recognizing that person's is even better than yourself. That's very different than the other way where you put down yourself, say, I'm incapable, I'm worthless, I'm undeserving, all of that. So that is I want to clarify, because sometimes you might understand this as when you see these verses and you take it literally and without really truly understanding the meaning of that, then you might think, oh, that means that you are the worst of everyone, you are undeserving, you are incapable. It's not saying that. Okay. The whole Bodhisattva's practice and path, which this is part of Bodhisattva practice and path, is to have a compassion to all sentient beings and love all sentient beings. Love all sentient beings. Have compassion to all sentient beings. Cherish all sentient beings. That is the core practice of the Bodhisattvas. Cherishing all sentient beings, loving all sentient beings, being kind and compassionate to all sentient beings. That being the case, you should be compassionate to yourself. You are one of sentient beings. You should love yourself. That is you are one of sentient beings. You should cherish yourself. That is you are one of sentient beings. You should take care of yourself because you are one of sentient beings. But while you cherish yourself, while you take care of yourself, while you love yourself, while you are compassionate, kind to yourself, at the same time, do even more to others. That's what it is. Do you get it?
Mhm.
The differences, I think, is very important to understand, because sometimes when you don't understand that, then cherishing others, loving others, compassion others, when you hear and especially like such verses, then it feel like we shouldn't cherish ourselves, we shouldn't love ourselves, we shouldn't take care of ourselves. If that happens, then you are not following the Buddha path, because you are excluding one of the sentient beings. You are excluding one of the sentient beings. So the point is, cherish yourself, but cherish other even more than yourself. You know, love yourself, but love others even more than yourself. Be kind and compassionate to yourself, but be even more kind and compassionate to others. And that is similarly here with this verse too. While you have confidence in yourself and feeling of worthy or positive and confidence at the same time, looking others are even supreme than myself. So therefore, because sometimes I often hear cautions when they look this, and then that means like it's almost putting yourself down. Do you get it? Hmm? For example, we can have confidence in yourself as a person, as with your practice and everything. But when you compare with someone like Lama Sabha Rinpoche, His Holiness, and all others, then you always feel they are more supreme. They are supreme. As a human being, they are more kind, compassionate, caring. They are more wise. They are more enlightened. They are supreme. Hold them very very highly. But it doesn't mean because you hold that, doesn't mean you are putting yourself down, feeling you are bad, not good enough. Do you get it? You still feel good for yourself. You are trying what you can, and I've made progress and I'm doing quite well. But still, compared to them, you hold them very highly regard. And same, we apply that same kind of logic, same kind of training practice with all sentient beings in that way. Because you hold them higher, supreme, you said less than, let's say, on spiritual level, let's say, Kabir Lama Subharan Rinpoche, His Holiness, and many other teachers and enlightened beings. Does that make you depressed or unworthy or bad or pull you down? No. That is similarly, that is where we bring that same understanding of that, and then apply that same to it with all other sentient beings. And if we analyze, every sentient beings have their own unique positive qualities. Everyone has some positive quality that you don't possess. There is something good about someone that you don't have. Sometimes it could be, someone is more ethical. Sometimes it might be the other person is more compassionate. Sometimes the other person is more generosity. Sometimes it could be the other person is more patience. Sometimes is the other person might be, more smart. Oh, he's great at technology, and I'm really bad at technology. So, or someone is good at math, which I'm not, or someone might be good at history, which I'm not. Someone might be good at driving, which I'm not. So there is always some qualities in someone. Everyone has some qualities that I do not have. If you look from that perspective, definitely that person is more supreme, at least from that point of view. There's a reason, there's some reason to hold that others more supreme than yourself. It's not just kind of saying, anything like that, but to feel that someone is more supreme, better yourself, on the basis of certain qualities that he or she possesses that you do not possess. And if you analyze, if you try to find, there is always some positive qualities in someone which you do not possess. Even with someone, let's say, very unkind and cruel person, still they have many other qualities that you don't have. They might be good at management. They might be good at other qualities. Running some things. Or even someone good at lying. And we say even that is a qualities. Yeah, it is. I don't know whether it's a positive quality or not, but it is still a quality. Lying is not easy, but someone can be very expert at that. And that quality is also, you can say, that some quality that he or she possesses that you don't have. But basically, of course, that is the not only there. If you really check in, there are many other qualities that each person has that you don't have. From that perspective, then just better or supreme, or you are less from that, at least from that, that perspective, that field. And so there is a basis to hold someone as supreme. Because if you don't see that, then it is not just enough saying, oh, if you don't feel there is some qualities that that person possesses that you don't have, then it's not enough just saying, oh, they are supreme, supreme. You can't feel it. You can repeat that word, but you don't feel that. How could that person be more supreme than me? How can I be less than that? Just repeating that word doesn't change. So we have to find certain qualities in that person, and there is always certain qualities that person possesses that you don't. And from that perspective, then that is, we train our mind from that perspective, from that point of view, to see that person's more supreme. And when we hold someone as more supreme, and when you are able to see, feel someone as more supreme through such training, it's much more easy to not to argue and fight all the time. Do you get it? At the moment, we fight and argue all the time because we feel either we are equal or we feel you are less and better. So we are not willing to listen properly others. More difficult of listening. When you hold someone more supreme, we listen better. When you listen better, you hear better. When you hear better, then you have better understanding and better way to communicate. Better way to communicate. The moment we feel we are equal or someone is a little less, when we feel we are more supreme, we are better, it's very hard to listen others who have different views. Someone who doesn't agree with your views, your ideas, someone who has totally different view and idea with whom it's very hard to listen. You pretend to listen, but you are not listening. You have already made in your mind. You are not saying, your ear is hearing, but in your mind you are already, this making sex, or this is what it is, he's just making up, but he doesn't understand, or he's just talking, he have no ideas. Your mind is already in chatting there. You are not listening. Your mind is very active. Your mind has already started become very active. Chatting, your mind is chatting. Your mouth is not chatting, your mind is chatting. And so you are not listening because your mind is not listening. And when you don't fully listen that way, even they have something good to say, it doesn't register in your mind. It doesn't register in your mind. It doesn't sink in your mind. Sometimes they have good points, good reasons, their point of view, their ideas. They have good point and reason that can be helpful. But sometimes while you are listening, but it doesn't register. Because we are only listening with the ear, we are not listening with the mind. Because our mind is not listening, it's already started chatting. And then definitely, then it's much more difficult to have good communications and better communications. And then we end up more kind of arguments, more argument and conflict. Check it out, check it out. There is three persons, okay? One you regard very highly, supreme. One you feel kind of equal. One you feel less. Three persons have given the same message. Same thing, they are saying the same thing. And in your registrations, it's a different. The person whom you respect, they say, wow, what a great, enlightened, what a great wisdom, what an enlightened wisdom, or how touching, it sinks in your mind. Of course, they are talking about something good, loving kindness, compassion, something very good message, teachings, whatever, or lecture, whatever. It really sinks. It registers. You really feel it. Someone called it. Yeah, some nice thing to say. That was nice talk. That was nice lecture. That is it. It doesn't have the same effect. Do you get it? Even though the message same, there's nothing. And someone you feel less, you might not even feel is a good message. Oh, today I don't know. He has something nice to say. Oh, he said. So there's different. The way we receive is very different. The way we receive same message, same suggestion, opinion, advice, same message, whatever. The way we receive is very different. depending on what kind of how we feel about them, whether we feel they are more superior than us, or whether we feel they are equal to us, or whether we feel they are less than us. Does it make sense? He's following Dalai Lama, for example, for loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, forgiveness, patience, all of that. And because we have so much respect and high regard and hold very highly, and not only that, he's embodiment of all those teachings as well, and because that we hold very highly. And when he gives such teachings or advice, message, it really sinks. It really sinks. It touches our heart. It transforms our hearts. We feel it's so real. We feel it. Which says same thing. You might not feel same way. The president, the former president said that you might have total allergy. The message might be the same. Do you get it? The message might be the same. Let's say they are reading same message from one book. Same thing, there's nothing different, same message. But how you respond, how you receive and how you respond is totally different. Because of our how we see them and in our mind how we regard them. Whether we feel they are supreme or whether we feel they are, no one, bad, less, whatever. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. If we really observe, analyze, and see that. I have found myself also same thing. If I'm receiving the same teaching from my teacher, it might sing more, it might touch more. But someone who is not my teacher, who might be saying same message, I might not feel same way. I might not feel same way. I might not receive same way. And the reason I receive more from one and less from others is not necessarily from their side, it's from my side, because of how I feel about them and how I regard them. A lot of time we think, oh, it is from their side. Do you get it? Oh, that person's gave an incredible great teachings, or that person's. Sometimes it's not necessarily that. Sometimes it's from our side. How much we are able to receive is how much our mind is open. When our mind is open, we are able to receive more. It touches our heart, it sinks, and then we feel that was great teachings or whatever. And sometimes the teacher, instrument teacher, it might be same, but our mind is not open, as open. And so then we don't receive same way. Whereas someone with same teachers who is more open than ourselves, they receive differently. Mm. It's interesting because that is something I've observed myself and analyzing, why I feel connected and why I feel that I'm getting more from here, why I'm not connecting, why I'm not feeling I'm getting more from there. A lot of time, before you think, oh, it's the teachers mostly, or he's great teacher, he's not so. But a lot of time it is yourself, how much you are open, how much you regard that person. Of course, it's not saying, there's absolutely nothing. Of course, there would be some differences, in terms of their wisdom, in terms of their own study, in terms of their own practice, in terms of their own whether they've walked the talk or not. And there's a lot of things that from the teacher side as well, but it's not only that. From your side also play a big role. I am saying that because we are talking about holding others supreme. That is what we're talking about. When we hold others as supreme, and then we're able to receive more, we are able to hear better, we are able to listen and hear better, we are able to receive more and better. And through that, we can learn more, we can grow more. And not only we can learn more, we can grow more, we can communicate better. And there are better interactions. Through better interactions, then there's more peace, more calm, yourself, that person, and that's related with all of us, Because when there's conflict with two persons, it's not only two persons. So many people get involved, Sometimes we think it's just our conflict. It's not just our conflict. It affects all my family, my friends. It affects that person's family, friends. So then it becomes clashes of two groups. And that group can get bigger and bigger. Then the friends of another friend, and friends of that, and then that's how it becomes. It starts with two individuals, and it becomes bigger and bigger. Those who support this and those who support others, isn't it? Even politically, we see here, and also in the world, sometimes it's a clash of two individuals, two leaders. And then we support one leader. And then, and so that then it doesn't become just two individuals, then it becomes fight, clashes of big group. Those who support that and those who support this. It affects. It's not just two persons. Of course, they have more bigger impact because of the leaders, but even on individual level, let's say on small level, that also happens. So yeah, so when there is when you regard the others more supreme, also you have more respect for that person. When you regard the other person more supreme, you have more respect. When you regard others as less, you have less respect. And when you have more respect, you show the respect. And when you treat others respectfully, generally, others will also treat you respectfully. So when we respect each other's, when we treat each other respectfully, then there's less harsh feelings. Even when you have difference, we can listen better. We can compromise better. Even you have totally different view and idea of certain situations, certain things with someone. When you know that person's sincerity, and when you know that person respect you, and when you know that when you regard that person quite highly. Even you might not agree everything he or she says, but there's a respect and there's better listening and there's better communications. And there is more open to compromise and find a way. And it's the other way around when you feel not only you disagree, but then you feel the disrespect of others, or other person feel the disrespect of you because of different opinion or different. And that is when someone feel being disrespected in that way, then it's much more difficult to find compromise and solution to that, the differences. Find a way, solution to the difference is much more difficult. Mm. And so therefore, some Kadamba masters, I forgot which masters, he will circumambulate in kind of way of paying respect, homage, even when you see the dogs, animals, not only any human beings, any animals, any sentient beings, and regard them because they all have the Buddha potential, the Buddha nature, and he see through that, even though they are not fully enlightened, not fully Buddha, not, but they have the potential to become fully enlightened. Through that potential, by seeing that potential, pay respect. They are more higher than me, more supreme than me. Such is the practice that one can, in order to feel that, in order to feel that others are even more supreme than myself, holding oneself less and others more supreme, and training that way. Through training that way, we reduce the sense of arrogant, sense of arrogant, the delusional pride, and practice humility, humbleness. And if we practice humility and humbleness, everyone like you. If you practice arrogant, delusional pride, nobody will love you. Everyone will be run away eventually. You know. So again, if you want to be loved by others, if you want others to like you, you have to practice humility, humbleness. We want everyone to love us. We want everyone to like us, but still we feel arrogant, delusional pride. So what you want and what you do is different. It doesn't lead to that result. If you want everyone to like you and respectful and kind and like you, then you have to practice humility and humbleness. Less ego. And so,
Mary Jo has a question.
yes, please.
You have to unmute Mary Jo. Oh, yeah, right.
Okay. Am I unmuted now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So sometimes if you have an interaction with somebody who seems very arrogant, of course, that's a judgment too on your part. but it seems like to think of them as superior would add to that already very big ego. And so that would not be helpful, maybe. I don't know. What about that kind of a situation?
Uh-huh. Sometimes, even though we feel like we don't want to increase the ego and we are doing this, but sometimes it's not that the case because we are upset about something and we don't like that and we are disturbed by that. And so again, our mind can be very cunning, tricky. Sometimes our mind can trick us, feel like, oh, I have to respond because otherwise that person becomes equal and I don't want to do that. But actually, sometimes that might not be the real intention. The real intention, I'm disturbed and unhappy with that person's actions or behavior or something. So is that thing too? So there's really lot to really analyze and observe and that too. And of course, if we feel like, through our actions, sometimes you can hold them supreme and highly, but in actions, you don't have to show that. So when we say here, when we hold supreme is more holding as supreme, we are talking about mental state. And most of the Buddhist training are more of mental state. I hold you with supremely and highly and regard that, but at the same time, in these cases, maybe I should act differently, otherwise it will increase the ego, whatever that is. So again, that sometimes there is a story of, the fifth Dalai Lama in one Ma city, another monk Lama, he was like Ma city, so he showed the act of little bit like kind of crazy person, not normal, but he's a very highly realized beings, and he was very close with fifth Dalai Lama, and they could communicate, just like normal friend to friend, tease or can be direct and like that, And there are many stories of that, I don't remember each one of them was Dalai Lama was in retreat, with Dalai Lama, and he came and said, I want to meet Dalai Lama. And so his attendants and cabinet said, no, that we can't see him. He's in the retreat. And he said, no, I just saw him. He was wandering about in the Lhasa the Lhasa market, I just saw him there. And they said, what are you talking about? He's in the retreat. And so they went and explained to his own Dalai Lama, that he came and said that he wanted to meet, and we say you are in retreat. And he said, oh, what he's saying true. My mind get distracted a little bit, and I was in the town. My mind was in the town for a moment, and he saw that, So he had very high respect to the fifth Dalai Lama. At the same time, he act like as though that he's confronting him. Another time, I don't remember, he was dragging his Holiness shoes in the market and saying something. I forgot what he was saying, and of course people says bad and criticize, and that went to his own Dalai Lama, and no. And then his own Dalai Lama know who he was and what he is and how much respect he has and high regard. And then he said, go and see in his room what is in the room he has put the shoes on his altars, object of his holy object. But outside sometimes he engaged in such actions to somehow to, it is, he regard very highly and his object of refuge. At the same time, sometimes he act that way. Sometimes maybe he feel is needed for the growth of even his Holy Dalai Lama, for example. So that is just example that came in my mind. Someone who had very high regard in someone, respect very, but sometimes, for some purpose, better purpose, sometimes they can act that way too. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Any other questions? If not, then we can do the dedications. Yeah.
We. One second. Are created by this teaching to all beings everywhere on every prayer list. We dedicate for those experiencing obstacles, specifically Jana, Adrian, and Lyra. Those experiencing illness, specifically Janine, Jane, Mary Jo, Patty, Bill, Tony, Maddie, and Patty. Okay. And those who have died or are dying. Marianne Handrick, who is Don's mother. David M., Robin Barrett, Diane Schmidt, and Dagoberto Alfaro.
Can you add Carol to the prayer list for ill health, please?
Sure.
Carol, Carole.
Got it.
Thank you.
Any other?
Yes, please, for deaths, could we include Frank M., who is in the active process of dying, but he has not died yet. And
Okay.
also Cody H., who did die about a week ago, I believe.
Cody H. Okay.
Yes, and two gophers that my cat brought in, and a
Chipmunk. Two gophers. Yeah.
Cheap monk, not an expensive monk.
Could we add to the illness? Could we include Stella, that's still, recovering but having a difficult time? And I think you could take me off of that ill list and I'll just be on the obstacle list is okay.
Okay.
And Alexia is saying, could we please add somebody that's disappeared?
Jana, this is Mary. Can you please add my mom, Joanne? And then for death, can you please add Melissa Size? She's the gal who
Oh, yeah.
jumped off the Gorge Bridge on Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you for remembering. Yeah.
I see a comment. Could we please add Ariel's dog to death list?
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, dedication prayers. We will do once in Tibetan. Gewadi. Long life prayer for His Holiness Dalai Lama. In English. The wish granted, wish fulfilling that you want. And for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, peerless teacher and spiritually for following the party of the words on the side. All the outfits of the plans. Hold the expression of the expression of the things. Incomparable manner to lots for having the great and for what in the fortunate with I and for also he does, let me ask you the information. Then to go on, so you didn't survive, so they say that.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, John, Jenna.
Thank you, Mary and John.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
So, thank you.